Chapel Street Players thanks you for your continued support of keeping the arts alive in the city of Newark. Coming up next in our fall streaming season is a classic for the entire family. A live radio play version of Miracle on 34th Street. We hope you tune in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the penultimate episode of The Mysterious Death of Madame Marcardi. That's right. After tonight, one more night, tomorrow night at 7:30, you'll see one more clue, and then the big reveal of who is responsible for the mysterious death of Madame Marcardi. Once again, you can ask questions in the comment section throughout the evening, and we will answer them at the end. Or if you're having trouble posting comments, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can email us your questions at clues@chapelstreetplayers.org. So last night we left off with the dinner, who was coming and going, and the discovery of the death of Madame Marcardi. Tonight, we pick up where we left off. The guests are enjoying, or trying to enjoy, as they're trapped in the house, their dessert in the dining room, while my former employer, Mr. Worthington, or Mr. W., and his friend, the Admiral, decided to search the house for other clues. They started in the parlor, where, if you remember, I had started a fire right before dinner in the fireplace. And no, once again, yours truly, the butler, swear did not do it. Oh, and I should say that many of you have been asking or making comments, even off, not during the broadcast, about the Admiral seeming very suspicious. He is indeed Mr. W's friend, but that does not necessarily rule him out as a suspect, does it? Let's take a look at their first investigation in the parlor.
What are you doing at the fireplace?
I thought during dinner that I smelled the rancid odor of burning plastic, and I was not mistaken.
I'll open the doors. That's odd.
What?
The doors. They weren't shut properly. No wonder we felt a chill.
That needs investigating, but meanwhile, look at the treasure trove the fireplace has revealed.
So let's take a look at some pictures of that treasure trove Mr. W refers to that he has found in the fireplace. First up, a burned black canister, I believe used to hold film. And you'll also see a burnt piece of what appears to be negative, film negative. One of the viewers a few episodes ago said or referred that the gray cap that was found at the murder scene in the box from Mr. Bivens did indeed perhaps belong to a film canister, and they were correct. Then there was fragments of a letter that was burned in the fireplace. Requested, I have enclosed photographs of each and their staff. As you can see for yourself, quite perhaps is the word, interesting. Good luck, Thomas T. Biv, obviously Bivens. What you can't see in the picture is that after the Bivens is P.I. So people have asked, who is Thomas Bivens? Apparently, he is a private investigator. Another burnt letter. It seems some letters, then the money, perhaps. Keep quiet, perhaps, signed by Madame Marcardi. Then there were a few other small pieces found. It appears that there was a piece of a burned check and the numbers 4378, and then another piece of the check that appears to say Renee and dollars or something dollars. So that fragment was also found in the fireplace. And last, but certainly not least, another piece of burnt letter on a typewriter. Don't forget, this is set in the 80s. Worthing, fluential people would mean fraud that you and steal, and grandfather has France, maybe his wife, angsters. I believe that is a paragraph about my boss, Mr. W. Then about this actress, ability, chorus line, L. Simon, but I found that could be about Miss Dupree. Retired from the, I don't know, that could be about the Admiral. But clearly, there was information on at least some of the guests that were in attendance that night. Very interesting. So let's get back to the Admiral and Mr. W at the fireplace and see what Mr. W has to say about those items.
And what do you make of it, Frederick?
In a word, blackmail. And I am not surprised at all.
What do you mean?
I told you that I had an agenda in bringing the madam here tonight. You see, I myself was being blackmailed by an unknown guilty party. It began after my visit to Christie's school and the madam's show. I suspected it was the madam, and I intended to expose her duplicity tonight.
I don't know what to say. How melodramatic of you.
And this surprises you? Grab a bag from the pantry so I can preserve this evidence. We will need to visit the scene of the crime once more, but first, once we secure the evidence, we must have a look at the lanai.
So, do you also think it's blackmail? That's what Mr. W thinks. So they bagged the evidence from the fireplace, and then they proceeded to investigate the patio, or as Mr. W formally calls it, the lanai. Let us have a look at what they found there.
Did you notice the damp spots on the carpet in the parlor just inside the French doors?
Of course I didn't, Sherlock.
Someone came in from the outside, and hence why the doors were not shut properly.
Back to the intruder theory?
Not at all, not with a murder weapon gathered from the pantry. What is this?
What did you find?
This rope hidden in the bushes.
And?
Well, we have some like this. Or perhaps this is it, in the pantry.
A rope in the pantry. A wrench in the ballroom.
We use it to rope off the rooms when we open the house for the holiday tour.
Of course, of course.
That's the guest room the Countess is staying in.
Oh, you think she was planning on some late-night suitor? Like Rapunzel?
On the contrary, but let's have a look in her room in any case.
Let's take a look at what they found out there. Some rope long enough to reach the Countess's room's window and down to the porch, or if you call it, the lanai. So Mr. W and the Admiral went back in the house. Before going up to the Countess's room, they stopped in the dining room where the guests had finished, well, what they wanted to eat of dessert. They were all in rather a melancholy mood. So Mr. W suggested that they go to the parlor to relax, now that he had cleared all the evidence, and to enjoy some digestives. Of course, Jenny was forced to serve drinks since I was on my way to fetch the police. But Before Mr. W and the Admiral could get to the Countess's room, Mr. W suddenly stopped in the hallway because he saw an odd piece of fabric sticking out of a closet door. Let us have a look at that.
Another vital clue, Frederick?
Indeed. I believe this is the black cloak to be Madame's.
How odd.
Recall, she wasn't wearing it when we found her.
She was wearing it earlier when...
When what?
I mean, when she was reading our fortunes. Perhaps she finally decided to hang it in the closet, like any civilized guest.
Wait, what have we here?
What have you found?
Take a look. A tear in the back with small amounts of almost dried blood around it. You agree?
Extraordinary.
Indeed. And wait, what have we here?
What is it?
An apron with blood on it as well.
Perhaps the murderer wore it to protect their clothes from the splatter.
I'm not sure one carries around an apron for such occasions.
Well, but you said the rope and the knife came from the pantry.
Well, my friend, touche. Or
Or what? Wait! Jenny did it. Of course, the bloody apron.
except you assured me the murderer was right-handed. And that, for the moment, rules out Jenny. She informed me that she's left-handed when she burned her arm.
Or she's ambidextrous. Remember, earlier today, she mentioned being an athlete, a skier.
A skier? Yes. But don't forget, she talked to Madame Marcardi when she came downstairs briefly.
Last. I thought we had our killer.
We must make haste to the Countess's room.
So, Mr. W and the Admiral went to the Countess's room. Before I tell you what they discovered there is the black cloak and the tear with some blood stains around it, the tear in the back of the cloak. Here is the apron with some blood stains on it. When they got to the Countess's room, they found that the window was not quite closed, the window that led down to the lanai. They also found something odd, which was a clock on a nearby table to the window that was stopped. It was an electric clock, and it was stopped slightly after 7:20. Then Mr. W followed the electrical cord that was plugged in near the window and saw this, that the plug had bent tongues, as though perhaps it was accidentally pulled out of the outlet. Hence why the clock was stopped slightly after 7:20. So after investigating the Countess's room, finding the clock and the not fully closed window, Mr. W and the Admiral returned to the guests in the parlor, and then they asked to speak to Jenny in the library. Here's how that conversation went.
And when you passed Madame Marcardi in the upstairs hall, she seemed fine to you.
Yes, she said she would join you for dessert.
And she was wearing her cloak when you saw her.
Yes, like a phantom in the night, she startled me.
I'm sure. And one last thing, Jenny. Where is your apron?
My apron? It's in the kitchen, sir. Should I be using it or wearing it to serve drinks?
No, not at all.
Is there anything else, sir?
Have you ever been skiing in Vermont?
Vermont? It's terrible skiing. I only ski in Colorado.
Of course. Thank you, Jenny. That will be all.
After talking to Jenny, they sent her back to the parlor to join the rest. The Admiral and Mr. W took a quick trip back upstairs to the scene of the murder. They wanted to look around one more time, and indeed, it wasn't unrewarding. They found a very small piece of a check stub that they had missed the first time around near a table leg at the table where Madame Marcardi was sitting. Let's have a look. So this was the fragment of the check, an upper corner, and the number 4378. Once again, found by a table leg, the table where Madame Marcardi was sitting with her tarot cards. When they returned to the library, Mr. W had a very serious conversation with the Admiral. Perhaps now you'll find out whether he is truly guilty or not.
Before I proceed any further, my dear friend, I think it is time for total truth between us.
Whatever do you mean?
When we were investigating the scene of the crime, you recall I told you that what was not in the madam's bag that was more revealing than those items that were in the bag.
I don't follow.
Come, my friend, it's obvious. Your box of matches that she used to tell your future and put in her bag were not in the madam's bag when we found her. When you left the dining room, you went to see her. The lost love who jilted you at the altar, I suspect. You smoked your pipe, likely in your nervousness or anger and revisiting old wounds, and your penchant tonight for the brandy. You or Marcardi retrieved the matches from her bag, and I am sure they're on you now.
Brilliant. As always, of course, you noticed the missing matchbox. But how did you know she was the one?
Your reaction to her being here, your private chat in the corner before her readings, even though you seemed to dismiss my entertainment, as it were, and perhaps most telling, you slipped and called her Regina.
Perhaps I misspoke her name, Renee.
I would have thought that as well, if it wasn't for the picture with the inscription left under the door. The picture of a woman and a small child. A woman who looks quite a bit like a younger Madame Marcardi.
I swear to you, when I left the room, Madame Marcardi was very much alive.
And she was wearing her cloak, wasn't she? That's what you almost mentioned in the hall when we found it. But more importantly, why was her cloak removed after she was stabbed?
She was alive when I left, I promise you.
I am sure she was, my friend, or we wouldn't be having this conversation. No, as we both know, the madam was seen passing the dining room after you had visited her. But you have confirmed what I suspected all along.
And that is?
The significance of this picture. The same one I suspect Miss Dupree handed to the madam earlier this evening. The one she always carries with her. The one that was left with her on the steps of the church. The one of the mother that abandoned her.
I say!
Ta-da! Much is unraveling, is it not? I know some comments are coming in, and we will get to them after you see a few more scenes. Next, Alexis Dupree was summoned to the library for a chat with Mr. W.
Matricide, Miss Dupree, is not an uncommon crime.
A mattress?
No, the murder of one's mother, Miss Dupree. especially when one resents a mother who abandoned her on the steps of a church with only this picture. This is yours, I believe. What did you say about the picture at dinner? That your real first name was written on it? Your birth name is Gina. Is it coincidence that this is the name on this picture I discovered?
Where did you get that?
We found it on the floor in the scene of the crime.
Well, of course. I gave it to the madam, remember? Who put it in her bag, like the other stuff.
Not quite. The madam was suddenly overcome and handed it back to you. In fact, you said at dinner that she practically threw it back to you. So how did it end up at the scene of the crime? You had to put it there. You left the dining room once again to attempt to connect to whom you suspected was your long-lost mother.
Why would I suspect she was my long-lost mother?
You did from the moment she arrived here. You stared at her. You were seeing the young woman in the picture, now older, but you could tell. You cunningly chose to give her the picture as your personal item to see if she recognized it. And voila, it had the effect for which you hoped. It upset Madame Marcardi, your mother, Regina, the madam's real name, as confirmed by the Admiral.
Okay, sure, that's what happened, but I didn't kill her. I swear on my mother's grave.
Did you intend to use such an irony, miss?
I went upstairs to talk to her. I couldn't stop thinking about her during dinner. I knocked, but she didn't answer, so I slipped the picture under the door. That's all. I was just hoping she'd talk to me. I wanted to know if she was indeed my mother. But I didn't kill her. I've waited all my life to find my blood mother. But if our assumptions, Mr. Worthington, are correct, now I'll never have the chance.
Oh, there, dear girl. I believe you. And you have been a great help to me for sure.
I have?
Yes, and please, go back to the parlor and ask the Countess if she will come to the library.
You do believe me?
Yes, I do, but don't talk about this with the others.
Oh, hell no.
So indeed, the Countess was summoned to the library, and she was none too pleased.
Countess, please forgive me, but your help is vital in solving this crime.
I see. I have not been summoned to be accused.
For the moment, no. But I even asked the Admiral to leave us alone. I thought it best for our conversation to remain private.
Thank you.
First, when you visited your room earlier this afternoon, did you open the window or go near it?
No, I did not actually. My bag was on the bed, and I retrieved my pills. Then I went to the bathroom for some water. I don't even recall looking out the window.
What time was this? Do you recall?
Yes, it was 4:30 because I noticed the antique clock the Viscount had given your mother, and I was delighted to see it on the side table.
I put it there in preparing for your visit. I thought you would like it. Now, from your vantage point in the dining room, you could clearly see anyone coming up or down the stairs.
Yes, I could. I saw the Admiral go upstairs, then come down. The same for Jenny when she burned her arm, and the actress, Miss Dupree.
And that was it?
Yeah, of course. Just as we were seated, Jenny was coming down after checking on the madam about dinner.
And then there was you.
Me?
You left the table, and from my vantage point, though I couldn't see you, you went upstairs, specifically to see Madame Marcardi.
How dare you?
Countess, Francesca, you were a dear friend to my parents. Please, you can trust me.
I didn't speak with Madame Marcardi during dinner.
No, you didn't speak to her, but you went to her room where you retrieved the ring you gave her to tell your future. The one that she put in her bag that is now miraculously back on your finger.
How foolish of me. An automatic response to put it on when I should have put it in my room.
I knew already it was missing from the madam's bag. And you didn't speak to her because when you entered her room, she was already dead on the floor, was she not? Now, the only question is, did you hate her enough to kill her as well?
What? I may not believe in psychics, but I don't go around killing them.
Madame Marcardi was no ordinary psychic, as I have come to learn before tonight. No, she's an expert blackmailer who knows no boundaries. And she was blackmailing the Vicomte, which led to his suicide, did it not?
Oh my.
You have expressed your disdain for Madame Marcardi all night and her psychic abilities. You implied that the Vicomte was driven to suicide. What possibly would lead a distinguished, successful man as he to do so, if not permanent ruin by a blackmailer?
Your reputation as an amateur sleuth is understated.
I brought her here to unmask her as the blackmailing fraud she was, but someone, for the moment, disrupted my endgame. I understand why you hated her so much, and that is why, dear Countess, you were relieved when you accidentally discovered the mysterious death of Madame Marcardi.
And so there we go. Some of your prior suspicions or questions throughout the earlier episodes have been answered, but let's look at some others that have come in. From Lisa King, do we have any more details why Jenny replaced Nori aside from her not feeling well? No, as far as we know, Nori was just not feeling well and so sent the substitute cook. Let's hope Nori is not in peril. From Neo Soul Nuna, was it really Madame M that Jenny saw in the black cloak? Did she see her clearly? She compared her to a phantom. Yes, both Jenny and, of course, the Countess mentioned seeing the Madame walk by in her black cloak and hood. So it's hard to say. Perhaps if she had that black hood up, you couldn't see her face. It's a very good question and observation. Another one from Neo. The Admiral mentioned being left at the altar. Wow, you pay attention. Congratulations. Did Madame M leave him? Well, suffice to say, since we already know he was in the room, apparently didn't kill her, just had a conversation, smoked his pipe, dropped the pipe cleaner. But yes, she was indeed, as inferred in a private conversation between the two of them, they indeed had a relationship, and Madame Marcardi jilted him at the altar. Finally, from LSM, did anyone actually see Mrs. Marcardi's face when the woman passed by during dinner? If all they saw was a cloaked person that they were assuming was her because of the garb, might it not actually have been the cook pretending to be her to fool the others into thinking the fortune teller's time of death was later than it actually was? Wow. As just another viewer had that observation, perhaps it was not Madame Marcardi in the cloak. Could it have been Jenny? Was it her apron that was bloodied? You'll have to stay tuned. Tune in tomorrow. Same CSP time, same CSP, social media, Facebook, and YouTube. So that concludes tonight. You can still send comments or questions to clues@chapelstreetplayers.org. You can catch all the prior episodes still on Chapel Street's Facebook and YouTube, just in case you want to go back and check out the clues before the big reveal. And before the big reveal, we'll give you a chance to say who you think done it. There's no prize, but you can be proud. Meanwhile, stay tuned for our cast credits and a special announcement from the Chapel Street Players. Have a great night.
Isn't it great to see the Chapel Street Players back in action? We're excited to be keeping the arts alive, albeit virtually, with this latest theatrical performance. I just love seeing good theater, even if, for now, it is in the comfort and safety of my living room. I'm Dr. Renee G. O'Leary, and I've been involved with Chapel Street Players for, well, let's just say a long time. There's always a first for everything, and 2020 is no exception. Like you, I'd love to be back in our little playhouse on Chapel Street, and we look forward to when we can reopen. As always, we couldn't provide live theater on stage or screen without the generous support of the community, or in this case, viewers like you. Our virtual entertainment this fall is being brought to you free. However, we greatly appreciate any contributions you are able to make to help keep Chapel Street players and the arts alive during these turbulent times. As Chapel Street Players, this is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization. Donations are tax-deductible in accordance with state and federal laws. Finally, on behalf of Chapel Street's board, volunteers, and patrons, I thank you and wish you all the very best.